It's got a nice load of sites. It's my second most cited paper. I like the paper because it summarizes a lot of analytical work, mathematical work, and thinking that we were doing at the time, but it doesn't get bogged down in equations. And the water tank analogy that we use works very well in teaching. So I've used it in undergraduate, postgraduate, MBA, executive settings. People get it, they can see what is going on, and it gives you something to talk about and explain quite complicated ideas in a way that is accessible to many people. And I've been very generous whenever anybody asks me, I want to teach this in my class, can I have some slides? I just let them have it. And I think that might go towards why it's got so many sites, because other people can teach it as well.
What's interesting and good about the paper is that we use these illustrative or empirical examples. I think it's the first time where we are really going into this context-specific solutions, that what solutions works where and why. So at the time with this VMI and collaborative forecasting and all that, it was presented a little bit as a everyone should do it sort of solution. And in combination with the modeling that Steve has and our examples that we had from Finland, I think that we can show what type of solution for what purposes in what situations.
If anything, it's got even more relevant because we now have internet-enabled devices and smart devices in our homes, and even more ways of connecting digitally information across organizations. Those ideas now, they're still held true. Even the VMI idea goes back to the 50s. It was true and relevant then. It's even more true and relevant now. Especially, you do have companies that operate vending machines and smart shelves and RFID enabled containers via mobile networks in other people's factories. Those ideas are all in that paper. I think the usefulness of the ideas in the paper is even more important now than it was when we wrote it.
I think that it's probably still as relevant. Many of the solutions that we were looking at, they are used to a wider degree, but in many settings they are still novel. A key part of the solution was this vendor managed inventory. Maybe the relevance of the vendor managed inventory approach that has been reduced a little bit. There are these automated replenishment systems that have become much more used, which in some ways replace or are a substitute for the VMI solutions. What we talk about planning and the way of responding and the time benefit for getting better reactions, I think that's still entirely valid.
Having data is good. It's how you use it, how you incorporate it into those decisions. And I think the paper does that. Supply chains are changing. They're changing slowly because they're difficult to change, but I think people are recognizing the importance of having local, flexible, responsive supply, and people want to have reliable supply as well. So, reshoring or nearshoring is very difficult to achieve, especially when now supply chains are embedded in those far-flung places. All of the suppliers are, around the manufacturing sites that are overseas, and just bringing back assembly to a local country isn't really shortening the supply chains, because all the raw materials and components need to be distributed as well. They're changing in other ways with use of data and technology, and products themselves are changing, aren't they? They're becoming smarter. But I think the paper gives a nice framework to think about how are you going to use all of that information that we now have with the internet-enabled world. How can we incorporate that into our decisions? Because making the same decisions but on different information is only part of the solution. It's making different decisions on different information where you can really find the benefit. It's easy to understand and it makes sense. the use of all of the industrial examples, what works and what doesn't, what are the challenges, what are the benefits, scattered through the paper together with that water tank analogy that gives people a visualization of what is going on and what is different in each of the settings. I think that gives them the mental hook. They don't have to get involved in the maths, they don't have to get involved in the detail, but they can appreciate the changes and what is occurring and why with the analogy. But having those real life examples, I think, also make concrete those abstract ideas, don't they?